Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great, and I know a lot of people who were excited for The Outer Worlds 2 are probably doing great as well, because I'm sure you all have heard by now, but Microsoft has officially bent the knee. The game is down to $70 from $80, which is honestly really depressing to say. And honestly, people are calling this a massive W and whatnot, but I'm not really quite as excited as everybody else seems to be, because I almost feel like we've been hoodwinked in a way. But really quick, before I explain why, let's just go ahead and actually read the tweet where they announced this. So The Outer Worlds tweeted out, "Dear Galactic citizens, we have received your SOS via Skip Drone about the pricing. As an organization devoted to making sure that corporations do not go unfettered, we at the Earth Directorate have worked with Redacted to revise the pricing of The Outer Worlds 2. While this will not bring peace to the galaxy or even your local colony, we can assure you all that we are here to fight for all colonies in every way that we can. From the Office of the Director of the Earth Directorate." Now, I've spent a while going through the replies, and it's pretty mixed, honestly. You either have people who are saying, "OMG, huge W, thank you guys so much," and then you have the people who are thinking more how I'm thinking, and are like, you guys just got baited into being happy that a game is costing $70. That's why I said we've been hoodwinked.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
I mean, I want you to really think about what's happening. Xbox announced that starting with The Outer Worlds 2, their games would be $80 because they saw Nintendo is getting away with it, so they're like, oh, you know what? Well, now we can try and get away with it. And guess what? It must have failed spectacularly. I can't even imagine how bad the pre-orders must have been if they're walking this back. And that's the thing. This isn't because, like, people got mad at them or anything, or, I mean, I guess indirectly it is because of that. But this isn't happening because people yelled at them on Twitter or ratioed their videos or anything like that. This is only happening because the pre-orders must have been extremely low. Because guess what? No game should cost $80. There's not a single game out there that should cost $80. And hell, $70 is still too high for this game. From everything we've seen, this game looks like it should be $60 at the absolute most. And even then, it's looking more like a $50 game. I mean, honestly, go watch the trailers for the game, look at the gameplay and all that, and tell me why this game should be $70. What? It's bigger than the original game? Congratulations, that's what a sequel is typically supposed to do. Now, obviously, the Outer Worlds Twitter account, they play into the meme or whatever, they're in character, and that's fine. But the actual reason that Microsoft gave for why they're lowering the price really just pissed me off. As you can see right here, Xbox said, this is coming from Charlie Intel, but this is what they said, "We're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore, and will keep our fully priced holiday releases, including The Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99, in line with current market conditions." Dude, I swear to God, if I hear one more thing about current market conditions, and that being the reason for companies pricing things the way they are, I'm gonna flip my table over. Because guess what? When Xbox originally announced they were raising their games to $80, they also said it was because of market conditions. And I know you're probably thinking like, yeah, no duh, of course the market conditions are gonna determine the price. Yes, I know that. It's just the fact that they say it this way pisses me off to no end. Dude, just say your pre-orders were low. Admit that you were far too greedy with charging $80 for the game. And even more so than that, admit that $70 is too high. I've talked about it before, but we are truly in like a pricing war right now, where we're seeing the first ever $80 games, but we're also seeing more like $40 and $50 games releasing than ever before. And these games aren't like small or anything. We're talking games like Helldivers, that was $40. Elden Ring Night Rain, also $40. Expedition 33, $50. The Oblivion Remake, also $50. The only quote-unquote market conditions that are letting companies charge $70 or $80 for games is people voting with their wallets. And in some cases, it works out, like here, and they drop the price. And in some cases, like Mario Kart, it doesn't work out. That's what's really wild to me. Xbox honestly saw Mario Kart, of all games, charge $80, and they got away with it because, you know, it's Mario Kart. And guess what? A ton of people on the Switch are kids, and their parents are probably buying the Switch for them. They're not involved with these online discussions of prices of games and whatnot. They probably just see the $80 price tag, and they're like, damn, that sucks that it's more expensive, but my kid wants it, so whatever. cheaper. And even if that's not the case and it is like adults buying it for themselves, a lot of people see the value in Mario Kart being $80. Why? I don't quite know, but people voted with their wallets and they told Nintendo that $80 is okay, at least for Mario Kart. And it just blows my mind that Xbox saw Nintendo barely get away with Mario Kart as an $80 game. And then they said to themselves, yeah, you know what would be a great idea? Let's try charging $80 for the Outer Worlds 2. Here's the thing, I was talking about this with Delta earlier. In the eyes of, like, the common consumer, right? Nintendo is seen as that guy where people will just buy the stuff they make because people pretty much know it's gonna be good. And it's Nintendo. There's, like, that trust with their games. Or, again, you know, parents are buying it for their kids. Xbox does not have this luxury, and I don't know why they thought they did. They are not that guy. And by the way, I'm not saying Nintendo's that guy. Trust me, I despise Nintendo. I'm not buying a Switch 2. I'm not buying Mario Kart World. I think it's a complete scam to charge $80. But in the eyes of the general public and the general consumer, Nintendo is okay to charge $80 for a game. I think Xbox has finally realized they don't really have that luxury with their audience. People aren't just gonna buy the Outer Worlds for any price because it's the Outer Worlds. I legitimately don't think there's a single Xbox-owned IP that could get away with this except maybe Call of Duty. And even then, that's a fat maybe. Again, Nintendo shouldn't be getting away with it either, but unfortunately, Mario Kart just holds that much power that they can. It really is wild to think about. $60 was the standard price of video games for what, like over a decade? And then at the start of this most recent console generation, they started creeping their way up to $70. And before $70 could even become the standard, now companies are trying to do $80. Because I mean, really think about it. A lot of AAA games are $70, but there's still a decent amount of AAA games that still cost $60, even though they're brand new. Games like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, for example. And then, like I said before, you've got the rise of $40 and $50 games, which, by the way, really think about it, 3 of the best games this generation, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, and Expedition 33, none of them are $70. They're all $60 or $50, even though they're all massive, incredibly well-made games. Do you want to know why that is? It's because these companies don't have to charge $70 or $80. Market conditions means, hey, we're gonna see what we can get away with. When Xbox initially said that they were gonna charge $80 based on market conditions, it was probably because they saw Nintendo do $80 with Mario Kart and they were like, okay, so we can do that. They very quickly found out they could not do that. And honestly, it seems like a lot of Xbox's recent $70 games, no matter how good they are, haven't been doing super well. So hopefully they take that as another sign of market conditions and drop their games to an even lower price as a result. Look, the whole point is they drop the price. That's good. It's not good enough. The game is still too expensive. I don't care how good it ends up being. It could literally be the best game of the entire generation. Still shouldn't go above $60. I would say I hope the same thing could happen for Nintendo's games, but it ain't happening. And honestly, if you're not convinced that games shouldn't be $70, go actually play some $50 games or cheaper, and then come back and tell me with a straight face that games should be that expensive, and that we should celebrate companies dropping the games from one extreme price to a slightly less extreme price. Some recommendations I have are Super Hot and Super Hot Mind Control Delete. I'm playing Mind Control Delete in the background of this video right here. Amazing games. They're $25 each. Helldivers 2, $40. Elden Ring Night Rain, also $40. Phasmophobia is $20. Risk of Rain 2 is $25. Or, you know, I've been ignoring the obvious, Minecraft, which is $30. Peak is $8. Repo is $10. So many amazing games out there which are better than a lot of AAA games coming out nowadays, and they're far less expensive. Hell, I mentioned the Oblivion remake or remaster, whatever, for $50 earlier in this video. That was published by Microsoft, and I know they call it a remaster, but with all the changes and improvements they made, it's basically a remake, and they still only charged $50 for it. If they had announced that The Outer Worlds 2 was dropping in price from $80 to, say, like 50 or 60, then I would be like, holy mother of God, this is a massive W. But the fact that they are dropping the price from 80 to 70 and expect people to praise them for it is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, guys, with all that being said, that is going to do it for this video. And let me know, are you interested in The Outer Worlds 2? Are you going to pick it up now that it's 70 instead of 80? Or are you like me where you think they should drop the price even harder? Also, how much do you want to bet people are going to comment on this video calling me broke for wanting games to be cheaper? I can't wait for that. But yeah, anyway, guys, be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Salt streams. At least, you know, when there's actually topics to talk about. And join us every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the gaming channel for gaming streams. And I will catch you all next time.